Mr. Perry, today was your last day as a caseworker. Why did you resign?
I resigned because I have lost respect for my agency, and I find myself without the ability to work under those conditions.
There recently was a child abuse case which seemed to disturb a lot of caseworkers, child caseworkers. Were you satisfied with the disposition of that case?
No, I was not. In my opinion, my agency chose to turn their heads rather than protect the child.
As a result of your recent efforts to obtain an investigation into this child abuse case, what happened?
Well, I think my efforts in the abuse case and in several other matters resulted in my command call to go to our state office in Austin, where I was advised that I would not be allowed to leave the office until I had resigned.
Jane, you haven't resigned your position, but you say you're going to. Why?
I'm going to resign because I can't work under the present conditions in the State Department of Public Welfare.
What conditions are these?
The inability to communicate with our superiors and our inability to offer services to children.
Do you feel that someone was trying to force you out of your job?
I feel like the administration there now would like the experienced workers to leave, the ones that don't go along with the way that they're running things now.
Why? Why would they want the experienced workers to leave?
Well, they had a situation similar to this in Houston where the whole staff walked out, and they feel like it's run very smoothly now because they have new people that can go along with their policies that don't know the way that it has been done, and it's been good in the past.
The State Department policies are more rural in nature, and what I mean by this is that the policies are uniform throughout the state, and they fit primarily the rural area where people have smaller caseloads, and this does not hit the unique problems of the metropolitan area. And this is why I believe that protective services are stymied by being totally understate. And I would hope for more control by the county and better policies set up by the county, because the county knows what the needs are in this community and not the state.
The campaign trail never ends. That's Lloyd Benson's plane taking off once again from San Antonio. And again, they're on a hop back into the lower Rio Grande Valley area. We've just returned from Austin. There he met with loyal campaign supporters and a number of friends there. making contact, shaking hands, a barbecue, as they always have to have in political circles. More barbecue coming up, by the way. That's just part of Texas politics, I suppose. He insists the campaign is going well, and he's after Senator Ralph Yarborough with all the barrels open now. I talked with him briefly about the situation in Washington and about Senator Yarborough just before he got on the plane to take off for this last hop. You've made the charge that Yarborough is using some of his federally paid people in his campaign. What is the situation on that now?
Well, he certainly has. You know, this fellow has a disease we call synetitis, and that's when a fellow's been too long away from Texas, living on the Potomac. This man, his code of ethics seems to have changed. Back in 1964, Caldwell, at that time, was one of his employees, or one of the federal government's employees, and he took him off the taxpayers' rolls and put him on his campaign committee rolls. This time he hasn't done that. He's kept him on the taxpayers' salaries, and he's got Benton Musselwhite on the taxpayers' salaries. And these two men are working for campaign purposes, and I think that's ethically and morally wrong.
When you get this close to the end of the campaign, you never stop campaigning. You get down close to the primary date and you have to work all the time. Mrs. Benson just flew in from Houston. Now she's with the candidate as they take off again for Victoria and Point South. This time next week, this camera, you and I, will be up in the northern part of Texas in the Panhandle with a Republican candidate for the same seat, Ralph Yarborough's seat, George Bush. For now, Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News in San Antonio.
We also take this opportunity to remind this nation to see that no exploitation of our laws according to this historical building will be used in the name of Lee Harvey Oswald unless it is definitely proved that he did indeed assassinated President Kennedy. I believe the building should remain. It should remain maybe for future evidence. It is a historical building, and I was mighty glad to read that Mr. Mayhew, that's the way he pronounced his name, has decided that it will remain that way. But human nature, such as it is, he may change his mind. He may sell it so it will be exploited. He himself may decide to exploit it, and this would be a grave injustice to our nation as a whole.